There's a machine you can buy for less than a used sedan, store in a single car garage, and have on the water in under 10 minutes. And there's another machine, built from the same basic idea, that costs more than most people's houses, runs on nitrous, and has put riders in the hospital trying to find out how fast it can actually go. Both of them are called jet skis, and over 1.5 million of them are registered in the United States right now, despite being banned from lakes, kicked out of national parks, and blamed for more noise complaints than almost any other vehicle category in America. Every single year, more people buy one anyway. Here's the problem. Most people think a jet ski is a jet ski. One engine, one hull, one experience, just in different colors. That's not even close to true. The distance between the cheapest one on a dealer floor and the most extreme machine in this category isn't a small gap, it's the difference between a commuter bike and a Formula One car, except they both happen to float. So today, we're breaking down the 10 levels of jet skis. From the $7,000 toy that gets college kids hooked for life, to the machine engineered for one purpose only, finding out exactly how fast a human being can survive on the surface of water. And if you've ever stood at a marina wondering why one jet ski costs $7,000 and the one next to it costs $60,000, by the end of this you'll know exactly where that money goes, so hit like and subscribe if you want every level of gear broken down exactly like this. Let's start where almost everyone does, at the bottom, with the one that costs less than most people's gym membership. Level 1, the entry point. Price, $6,000 to $9,000. This is where almost everyone starts. And for a huge number of people, this is the moment they realize they've been spending their summers wrong. The Sea-Doo Spark is the machine that defined this entire level. Starting around $6,999 for the base 60 horsepower model, it's the cheapest new jet ski any major manufacturer sells. It weighs about 400 pounds. It seats 2, maybe 3 if nobody in a group values personal space. Top speed sits around 42 miles per hour, which sounds slow until you're doing it 6 inches above the water with spray hitting your face at full throttle. The Yamaha EX is the other name here. A little more refined, a little more power, built on a hull designed to get thrown into turns without complaint. These machines aren't built for comfort. They're not built for long trips, rough water, or carrying gear. The storage compartment barely fits a phone and a key fob. None of that matters the first time the back end breaks loose mid-turn and you realize this might be the most fun you've had in years for under $7,000. Who's here? The college kid who rented one in Cancun and decided, standing right there on the water, that he was buying one the second he got home. The couple at the lake who got tired of watching everyone else have the fun. The parent who bought it for the kids and now is mysteriously always the one riding it. Level 1 costs less than a year of takeout coffee. And it delivers more dopamine per dollar than almost anything else on the market with an engine bolted to it. Level 2, the recreation mid-size. Price, $10,000 to $15,000. This is where the jet ski stops being a toy and becomes a real machine. The Sea-Doo GTI, the Yamaha VX, and the Kawasaki STX 160 all live here, full-size recreation PWCs that seat 3 comfortably, weigh 700 to 800 pounds, and produce somewhere between 130 and 160 horsepower. Top speed climbs to 53 to 55 miles per hour. These are the jet skis at every lake, every marina, and every rental fleet in the country. The difference from level 1 is night and day. Seats are wider. Storage is real, not symbolic. Rough water goes from terrifying to manageable. Most models add a real reverse system, a reboarding step for swimmers, and 3 hours of cruising range without a panic trip to the fuel dock. The Yamaha VX in particular has built a reputation that borders on legendary. Rental companies run them into the ground all summer and they come back asking for more the next season. Annual ownership costs at this level stay surprisingly low. Insurance runs roughly $300 to $500 a year. Winterization is another $200 to $400. Add storage, and total yearly cost, not counting the purchase, lands around $1,000 to $2,000. For something that can deliver 6 months of weekend riding, that math is hard to beat. Who's here? The family that wanted one machine everyone in the house could ride. The level 1 rider who realized within a season that they needed more stability and traded up. The retiree who's out on the water by 7 a.m. when the lake is glass, back before anyone else even wakes up. Level 2 is the sweet spot of the entire category, big enough to be practical, small enough to stay fun, cheap enough to actually use every weekend instead of letting it sit. Level 3, the touring cruiser. Price, $15,000 to $20,000. This is where a jet ski stops feeling like a toy and starts feeling like genuine transportation. The Sea-Doo GTX, the Yamaha FX Cruiser, and the Kawasaki Ultra LX are built around comfort and distance instead of speed. Bolstered seats with lumbar support. Adjustable handlebars. Bluetooth connected, waterproof sound systems you can actually hear over the engine. Extended fuel tanks that stretch range to 3 or 4 hours on the water. Features that would have sounded absurd on a jet ski 15 years ago are now standard here: cruise control, selectable ride modes, full touchscreen displays mounted right on the handlebars. These are the machines people take on island-hopping trips and 50-mile river runs, not just laps around a buoy. The seating position is relaxed instead of aggressive. The hull is tuned to soak up chop, not to carve hard corners. The whole experience starts feeling closer to riding a touring motorcycle than wrestling a jet-powered Bronco. Who's here? The couple who sold their boat entirely and replaced it with 2 touring jet skis, because the fuel costs are a fraction of a boat's and the maintenance barely registers. The group of friends who does the same 40-mile river run every summer like it's tradition. The guy who calls his jet ski therapy and isn't really joking. Level 4 with a luxury flagship. Price, $20,000 to $26,000. Level 3 was comfort. Level 4 is a watercraft trying to convince you it's actually a yacht. The Sea-Doo GTX Limited and the Yamaha FX Limited SVHO sit here, and the jump from Level 3 isn't more of the same feature set, it's a different category of expectation entirely. A factory-installed premium sound system tuned specifically for open-air acoustics. A fully waterproof phone compartment with onboard USB charging. Integrated coolers. On certain models, active suspension systems that physically adjust to absorb chop in real time, smoothing out a ride that would otherwise rattle your spine over a 3-hour crossing. Storage is genuinely usable here, enough room to pack for a weekend, not just a sandwich. Some trims add adjustable suspension seating, keyless ignition, and digital gauge clusters that look like they belong on a dashboard, not a handlebar. This is the level where a manufacturer stops asking what's necessary and starts asking what can we fit on this thing, and the answer keeps getting longer every model year. Who's here? The rider who upgraded from level 3 specifically because spray finally killed one too many phones and speakers. The retired couple doing a week-long coastal tour, towing the skis behind an RV from marina to marina. The buyer who, frankly, just wanted the nicest one in the parking lot, and has zero interest in pretending otherwise. Level 5, the performance machine. Price, $18,000 to $24,000. Level 4 was about relaxation. Level 5 is about a mild case of whiplash. Now things get genuinely fast. The Yamaha GP 1800 RS VHO, the Sea-Doo RX PX 325, and the Kawasaki Ultra 310R are the apex predators of the production jet ski world. Supercharged engines producing 250 to 325 horsepower. Top speeds that approach, and in some cases exceed, 70 miles per hour. 0 to 30 in under 2 seconds, hard enough that the acceleration genuinely pins you backward in the seat. These hulls are shaped for aggressive cornering, not comfort. The intake systems are tuned for maximum pump efficiency at high speed. Most include a race-tuned mode that strips out the electronic limiters and hands the rider every available horsepower, no nanny system holding anything back. The Kawasaki Ultra 310 has held the production horsepower crown for years, a supercharged 4-cylinder pushing 310 horsepower, and at over 1,000 pounds, the heaviest machine in this class, which gives it a freight train feeling once it's at speed. The Sea-Doo RX PX 325 answers back with less weight and sharper handling. The rivalry between the two is basically the personal watercraft world's version of Lamborghini versus Ferrari, same mission, completely different philosophy. Who's here? The closed course racer who shows up to every event within driving distance. The adrenaline chaser who owns 3 jet skis, and this is the one nobody else in the family is allowed to touch. The rider who's already counting the months until racing season opens back up, because level 5 is the warm-up, not the destination. Level 6, the fishing and utility PWC. Price, $14,000 to $23,000. Everything up to this point has been about going faster or going further in comfort. Level 6 throws that whole scoreboard out and asks a completely different question: what if speed isn't the point at all? The Sea-Doo Fish Pro created this category outright. It comes with an integrated fish finder, a built-in cooler, a rear deck live well, multiple rod holders, and a 360-degree swivel seat that turns the back of the jet ski into a casting platform. The top trim, the Fish Pro Trophy, adds a 10-plus-inch touchscreen navigation display and enough rigging to make a bass boat owner stop and stare. The reason this category is exploding is simple math. A fishing jet ski reaches water that boats physically cannot: shallow flats, narrow creeks, tight backwater channels. It burns a fraction of the fuel a boat does. It launches from any ramp in minutes instead of an hour of prep. And it costs a quarter of what a comparable fishing boat runs. Once anglers discover that math, they don't go back to the boat. Who's here? The kayak angler who got sick of paddling against current and upgraded to something with an engine. The inshore fishing guide who uses a jet ski as a scout vessel to find fish before bringing clients out on the main boat. The guy who lives on a canal, runs out to the reef before sunrise, catches dinner, and is back home before his family's even awake. Level 6 is proof that the jet ski has quietly evolved past pure recreation. It's a tool now, and a genuinely effective one. Level 7, the electric revolution. Price, $17,000 to $26,000. If Level 6 was about function, Level 7 is about a problem nobody in this entire list has solved yet: the noise. The Tiger Orca, built in Montreal, is the world's first production electric personal watercraft. It produces around 160 horsepower from an electric motor, reaches a top speed near 60 miles per hour, and does it almost silently: no exhaust note, no two-stroke scream bouncing off the shoreline. Just the sound of the hull cutting water. Runtime sits around 1 to 2 hours depending on how aggressively it's ridden, and newer charging systems can refill the battery in well under an hour. The detail that makes this level genuinely fascinating: some electric PWC platforms support bidirectional charging, meaning the watercraft can feed power back into a home during an outage. Your jet ski becomes a floating battery bank. The limitations are real. Range doesn't yet match gasoline. Charging infrastructure near most lakes and marinas is close to non-existent. But jet skis have been banned from more lakes and waterways than almost any other watercraft, specifically because of noise and emissions, and an electric platform solves both problems in one move. Every single lake that's banned gas-powered PWCs is a market that just reopened. Who's here right now? The early adopter who wants access to water nobody else can ride on anymore. The tech enthusiast who looks at electric watercraft the way people looked at the first Tesla. The marina owner in a noise-restricted zone who finally has a product to legally sell on his docks. Level 7 is small today. It is not going to stay small for long. Level 8, the stand-up. Price, $11,000 to $17,000. Everything so far has had a seat. Level 8 takes it away, and that one missing piece changes absolutely everything about what the rider has to do. Stand-up PWCs like the Kawasaki SX-R160 are the original form factor. There's no seat, no bolsters, nothing to hold you in place. You stand on a small platform, grip the bars, and use your entire body weight to keep the machine under control. They're light, explosively responsive, and merciless to anyone without real core strength and balance. These machines are brutally physical in a way nothing else on this list is. There's no resting position. Every turn, every wake, every wave is something your legs and lower back absorb directly. In the right hands, a stand-up is faster through a tight technical course than almost any seated machine, because there's no extra weight, and the rider can shift their body to change the hull's angle mid-turn in ways a seated rider physically can't. It's the closest thing on the market to surfing with an engine strapped underneath you. Who's here? The freestyle rider doing backflips and barrel rolls off wake at competitions most people have never heard of. The former motocross racer who found something on water that scratches the same itch. The instructor who insists every serious PWC rider should learn stand-up first, because if you can control one of these, everything else feels easy by comparison. Level 9, the closed course racing circuit. Price, $25,000 to $60,000 plus. Stand-up riders push their own bodies to the limit. Level 9 pushes the machine itself past anything a factory ever intended, and turns the whole thing into an actual sport with a finish line. The JSBA World Finals, held annually in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, is the largest PWC racing event on the planet, riders from more than 30 countries competing across categories ranging from stock production classes all the way up to unlimited modified machines. These aren't weekend hobbyists. Many have been racing competitively since childhood, building their entire riding career around qualifying for events like this one. Crashes at racing speed are violent enough that full body armor, helmets, and back protectors are mandatory, not optional. Riders go down at speeds that would seriously injure someone on land, and they do it on a surface that offers zero forgiveness. Modified race machines in the upper classes run 400 to 500 horsepower out of heavily reworked engines, high-boost superchargers, aftermarket fuel systems, custom hull modifications that would void a factory warranty in seconds. These machines clear 90 miles per hour on water that is never perfectly flat, which means every wake, every ripple, becomes a launch ramp at speed. A line that's perfect on a calm morning practice run can put you airborne an hour later once boat traffic chops the surface up. Who's here? The professional racer who's been doing this since age 8 and has the trophy case to prove it. The fabricator who builds and tunes race machines in a home garage, testing them at dawn before the lake fills up with anyone else, chasing tenths of a second nobody outside the sport will ever notice. The rider who stopped thinking of a jet ski as a recreational product years ago and now sees it purely as an engineering platform with a finish line attached. Level 10, the speed record machine. Price, deep pockets and no regrets. This is the final level. There's no production model here, no price tag that makes sense, and almost nobody on Earth who actually does this for a living. Purpose-built speed record machines, running nitrous oxide injection or turbocharged setups well beyond anything street legal, have pushed past 140 miles per hour on open water, with the current outright record sitting in that range on a turbocharged Yamaha platform running over 1,000 horsepower. To put that in perspective, that's more than double the top speed of the Level 1 machine that opened this list, on a vehicle that has no roof, no cage, and nothing protecting the rider except a wetsuit and raw nerve. At that speed, the surface stops behaving like water and starts behaving like concrete. Every imperfection, every chop, every gust of wind becomes a variable that can end the run instantly. These machines are hand-built, one-off, and frequently rebuilt after a single serious attempt, every gram of unnecessary weight stripped away in the name of speed, with no comfort, no storage, and no electronics softening anything that happens next. The margin between a record-breaking run and a trip to the hospital, or worse, is measured in milliseconds, not seconds. There's no clean line between success and disaster at this level. There's only the run that worked and the one that didn't. Who's here? The handful of riders on the planet willing to strap into something this unforgiving on purpose. The engineers who spend an entire off-season chasing a single extra mile per hour. The record holder who, when asked why, usually just shrugs and says someone had to find out where the limit actually is. Level 10 isn't about luxury, comfort, fishing, or even racing for points anymore. It's about answering one question and one question only: exactly how fast can a human being move across the surface of water before the water decides it's had enough? That's the full range, from a $7,000 machine a college kid buys on a whim, to a hand-built nitrous-fed record chaser that treats the open ocean like a runway. 10 levels, one piece of equipment, and a gap between the top and bottom of this list wider than almost any category in the entire outdoor world. If you made it this far, you already know which level you're at, and which one you're secretly saving up for. Subscribe if you want the next breakdown like this one, because this list only gets crazier from here.